You're welcome back if you're just tuning in. This is still Dream City on Lag Radio 103.1 FM. I apologize for that break. I had to quickly, get downstairs and bring my guest upstairs. So on the show today, we're talking exploring the opportunities in Agritech. When I posted the topic on my WhatsApp today, I sent out the podcast and a friend reached out to me and said this is the first time he's hearing about the word Agritech. That I've never heard of anything called agri. I was like, really? Yes, it's just a sync between agriculture and technology, and we brought them together and we have the word Agritech. So you're welcome back. Today we're talking exploring the opportunities in Agritech, and my guest is a thoroughbred technologist and an unrelenting pursuer of innovation. He joined System Specs in 2011 and currently heads the firm's payment technology and infrastructure team. He has done a lot, so I'm just going to leave all of that and go straight into it. So you're welcome once again back to Dream City. I know you've been here before. No, you joined us virtually the other time.
Yeah.
So you're welcome to Dream City now. The last time you came, we talked about fintech, and now we're talking about Agritech. You seem to love tech so much. Am I right? Why? How? How did that happen?
As human beings, we pursue excellence through doing things better, and technology affords us the opportunity for improving on how we live and the rest of it. So if you want to improve yourself and improve what you do, technology is one avenue to do that, and I'm a pursuer of that as well.
Interesting. Now, what is Agritech? The friend that asked me that question this morning, I tried my best to explain to him, but I want to hear from your own angle, like a professional angle. What is Agritech, and what does it involve?
Okay, simply put, very, very high level summary. Agritech is just doing more with less through technology.
Take that again.
Agritech is doing more with less through technology within the agricultural context. That is a high level summary. Essentially what that means is using technology to improve on everything farming, from input to the processing to the output. Everything in between, technology is at the center of it. That's essentially what Agritech is.
So before now, not everybody likes to be associated with anything agriculture. But that narrative is gradually changing. So why do you think that people now want to be associated with it?
Okay, so the reality of things is that everybody is involved in one way or the other. We just, most of us didn't just know it, right? But right now, look, first of all, it's dying out, right? Especially within where we are in the world, right? There's issues of food security, and the opportunity is now clear, and everybody can see what the opportunity is. And especially when white collar jobs are not what they used to be, right? And as Nigerians, we can't sit still. We're looking for that next thing. So we're beginning to dig deep into those opportunities, and for the people that have explored these opportunities, it's been a mixed bag. However, we can see serious success in that, in terms of money coming into that sector, and improving on the production of food and food security as a whole.
So how can one be part of agriculture using technology? As it seems like agriculture is now like the in thing, and especially for those who are not interested in the cutlass and whole kind of agriculture and farming and the likes.
At some point, right, the cutlasses and the hoes and everything would come
disappear.
out. It would still come out. It will still come out. But the reality of the matter is, you can play. There are different levels to this, right? So let's try breaking down some things, right? When you talk of Agritech, you need to think of access to different markets. Okay, so you've produced this, then how do you sell it, right? So access to market, that's an area where people can play in, and people are already playing in. There's a lot of companies and a lot of platforms right now that offers that, and those are the people we actually, most of us know, right? So there's that. There's access to assets, right? Which is the tractors and that, and then there's the financing side of things, which again which again is part of what a lot of us are used to. So those are three different areas you can break things down into. However, if you want to start this out, right, just think of what is happening within where you are. You know, pick a crop, pick a type of farming, right, and see what you can do. You don't necessarily have to go set up companies with different platforms looking for software developers here and there. There are already platforms and tools available to help you do this. So the first thing is, do you even want to go into agriculture? That's the first
That's
question.
a very good question.
You know.
Okay, so now there's this thing about farmers when it comes to trust and research and computers. So are farmers now ready to trust computers and researchers? But you agree with me that that used to be an issue. That's an issue.
It's still an issue. I mean, trust is a two-way thing, right?
They prefer their age-long old tradition, like.
To be fair to them, a lot of the old age tradition that they're used to is the basis of some of the things we are actually even doing, right? You know, a lot of people say there's nothing new under the sun. It's just that we now understand things better, right? We now understand if you do A and B, this is the Y.
Outcome.
This is the outcome. But, you know, they are used to, oh, this was just handed down from my, you know, for generations, you know, from my family. It has always worked like this without actually knowing the why, right? So, you know, technology has opened up the horizons to provide scientific data backing what is actually happening, right? So, like I said, trust is a two-way thing, but through a lot of programs out there right now, a lot of farmers are beginning to understand that, look, we can't do anything. You know, we have to jump on the train, and they are, you know, slowly but surely they are.
Okay, now, do agritech companies own farms, or they just serve as an intermediary between investors and the farmers?
Okay, so that's the interesting part. That's the part, you know, right? You know, before you can even get to the point of actually selling something, you need to produce it first, right? The agritech platforms we know today are usually, most of them are in well, the ones we know, the popular ones, they're in two categories, right? Either is the last mile, right, where the output is actually being sold to, you know, is now a commodity. They can either sell it to the local market or, you know, export it. You know, that is one side of it. And there's the input stage, the beginning stages of things, right, where people, where these platforms actually make farms available for you to invest in. So those platforms, some of them now are beginning to own farms, right? But not all of them own. You know, it's a collaboration. You have the farm, I have the people to invest. Okay, use my platform to connect the two. So that is where it all started from. But a lot of those platforms and these systems are now beginning to own farms as well, because
understand.
Exactly, you can't improve what you don't know. It's like trying to solve a problem you have no idea of. You're only hearing it from third parties. Okay, this happens, that happens. But when you're in the thick of it, you can begin to innovate.
Okay, listeners at home, you can be part of the program. Just call in if you have questions, you want to make comments. 08133038749, or you can call 08020933638. Those are the numbers to call to be part of the show. Now, do you think the problem with agriculture is the need for more persons to become farmers, or the need for it to be more technology driven?
There needs to be, because it's a double, you know, it's a double blind question, right? What do we need? The truth is, we need more people to become farmers, and we also need those activities to be driven by technology, right? We need more farmers, because at the end of it, even if you bring your drones and your unmanned tractors and the rest of it, you still need human beings to oversee. At that stage, you need human beings to oversee the production, the input stage, then the production stage. Then, you know, you still need humans. I think we need to stop seeing farmers as basket on the head, hose on.
God
No,
bless my word.
I used to live very close to a farm, right? I used to live very close to a farm, hectares of land, right? And this farmer was always in, smart casuals and things. I only realized after meeting him and talking to him for a while that all those tractors running, right? Yes, they were unmanned, but he had a lot of farm hands as well. So I'm like, why do you need all these people when you have, that's where I started realizing that, okay, no matter how much technology you put at that, in that side of farming, you still need people, right? Technology is getting better, but ultimately people need to stop seeing farmers as who, I mean, if that's if that is how they want to dress, that is fine. But you need to remove that picture from your head.
Well, talking about dressing, I think what even sparked this conversation was the fact that I posted a picture of. I went home, so I went to Korodu, I went to my mom's place, and mom still has a little space at the back of our house, and she decided to plant some things. So she planted corn. The last time I went, she just planted it. So she planted corn, vegetables, pepper, tomatoes, okra, a couple of things. So when I went, I was like, let's not even check that your farm said. What's there to eat? What's there to pick? So we went there and started addressing corn, and it was interesting. I was like, okay, let's take some pictures, let's take some selfies. It was fun. I think that experience was. It's been a long time that I've been so close to nature, greeneries, greens everywhere. That was just the
interesting.
experience.
If you see farmers that are not burdened by a lot of things that most African farmers are burdened by, they're actually happy. They're happier because they're working with their hands. They're closer to nature. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of hard work.
True.
Right? Especially when you're talking about at the scales that would feed a town or a city, right? There's a lot of hard work, a lot of planning goes into it.
GPS signal lost.
However, they are happier and their lives, is more enjoyable from all the talks I've had with some of them in the past.
Okay, so from your own perspective, do you think that agriculture is a sustainable source of revenue for the country? Now, I'm asking this question, putting the old oil money and agriculture, can they stand at par when it comes to the revenue that they both generate for the country?
Okay, so right now, agriculture actually generates about 7%. 7%, right? We need to understand what is going on. We need to understand what is going on in the world.
Yeah.
The days where everybody wants crude oil and all this is dying out, right? Not just because the technology, other fantastic and better technology is coming on stream, but people are making different choices these days. Especially the young guys coming right now, they're making choices that is excluding those type of technology. You have to understand crude oil was a technology of its day, right? Now there are other things and it's going to die out, whether you will like it or not. It's just the way things go. Now, if that is dying out for us as a people, right, what is the next best thing? Everybody must eat.
Yeah, sure.
Even let's leave.
Have money or don't have money,
you must eat. If you wanna buy it with Bitcoin or whatever it is, at the end of the day, you must eat. Now, aside from eating, right, everything else we tend to do in the world, right, it still revolves around agriculture. Medicine, before you can even begin talking, I want to export anything medicine, you need to go to the root, right? You need to get those things and those raw materials in place. Even if you want to trade anything on the stock market, what are you really trading? Where is it starting from? So for me, and from all the things I've seen, agriculture can and should be a major part of our income in this country.
Speaking about GDP and the likes. Okay, so in recent times we've had different agritech companies come up to say, okay, invest a particular amount for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and at the end of the day, poultry farm or rice farm and the likes, you will have those returns and all of that. But we have seen in recent times that some of these companies, at the end of the day, are not able to remit to the investors. So what's happening? Is that mismanagement, or is something happening in the agric industry? What is happening? But you and I know that this is true. We've seen it. I don't want to call names of brands, but I have seen a couple of them.
Okay, so first, let's acknowledge and appreciate the people that are actually doing the good works and actually remitting the money back, right? Again, a lot goes into this particular type of business that you don't even get to see, right? And there's a lot of things you can't really plan for, right? Talking about your crops just dying out because of pest that nobody saw coming. Well, these days you could kind of plan around it, but there's a lot of things that happen in that side. Now, I mean, how should I put it? Look, people would always be criminals. You shouldn't. Let's not put those criminals, right, and say, oh, they're doing agritech. No, they're clear criminals. If they're not,
they came to us in quotes, agritech companies.
Again, let me not say everyone is a criminal. There's some criminal elements, right? However, like I said, things happen that you just can't account for, and it will be shocking if they never put that in the small fine print of the platform. That is one. And then also, I think what needs to be looked at more is the insurance of this, insuring this kind of business, because it's capital intensive when you think about it, right? It's capital intensive. Insurance needs to be key.
Yeah.
So if you're going to put your money in this kind of things, you need to look out. You need to think about how secure your money is. Some of these guys that have not probably done what they said they would do, right? They didn't set out to scam anyone, right? Some of them that I've seen, they didn't set out to scam anyone. It's just that, look, somehow, somewhere, they dropped the ball, right? And then I mean, what do you do? Just with any investment, right? The onus is on you to do your due diligence to make sure that, okay, I understand the risk I'm about to take, and then I'm okay with that risk. There's no point crying after the fact if you've not done those things. And where you've done those things and you still lost your money, then the person needs to be, the company or the platform needs to be responsible for it.
Okay, so you talked about agritech companies who are genuinely doing this, who are genuinely remitting and making payments to people. Now, because of people like me who have probably got scammed from one of these companies that came all in the name of agritech and the likes, what should companies who are genuinely into this space do to earn the trust of people?
Okay, so it's about communication and conversations first, right? Do not overpromise what you cannot deliver, just like any other business. When you're crowdfunding or crowdsourcing finance, right? Sometimes you want to say things to make sure that people are excited about what you are excited. You're the founder. You are excited. You can see the vision. You can see everything clearly in your head, but most people can't. So you need to kind of dial it back a bit and speak with data, right? Don't just put fingers in the air and say, oh, I'm going to give you 40% in 3 months. Okay, in 3 months, what happens if the rains don't come? What happens if there's pest? What happens if there's insecurity? What happens? There's a lot of parts of Nigeria right now where farming activities cannot happen.
Sure.
We're
going to get there. We're actually going to get there.
So you need to dial it back a bit, speak with data, and be real. Everybody wants to invest in something that is real. And also for the people investing, if it sounds too good to be true,
then it's not true.
Okay.
081 33 038 If you're listening and you have questions or you want to make comments, if you have been scammed, you have something to say about agritech companies, feel free to call in and I'll be here to take your calls, and I'm sure Mujib would have a thing or two to say to you as well. 081 33 038 So what are the things that one should look out for when it comes to investing in agritech companies to avoid being scammed?
Do your own research first. Well,
when you say do your own research, what should I actually look for? Should I ask them for their books? Should I
Well-
go to the farm? Should I, what should I do?
Well, do your own research means that you are actually asking them real questions. I've just laid some out right now. You need to decide on what part of the business the agritech I believe you're talking about is the one everybody knows, right? But there's more to it than just bringing commodity to market or investing in farms. There's more to it, right? You have a lot of people that have the platforms that are, for instance, renting out tractors or connecting tractor owners with, people to farmers, right? At the end of the day, you don't have to go invest in, say, this platform, this farming platform or farming business. If you're worried that your money might go, you could simply just buy a tractor, right, and lease it out. That's another way of generating income within the same agritech. The only thing is you're not concerned with trying to do everything else. You've left that to the platform. So the question is, you need to ask yourself is, what part of agritech do I even want to invest my money in? When you figure that out, right, then you begin to you need to be asking questions about the numbers. Okay, if I'm investing in this farm, how much exactly am I likely to make if X, Y, and Z happens, right? Are you insured to even start with, right? Are you insured? Does your insure guarantee my investment? Those kind of questions, typical, so look, this is money. We all know what the dollar is saying right now. We all know what the inflation is saying.
Now, let's talk about the issue of herdsmen and the grazing issue here in Nigeria. How is this affecting agritech?
Okay, so let's leave. I'm just going to call it insecurity, right? When we talk insecurity, it affects everything, right? We have situations where people can't go to their farms, right? That is a big problem. It causes huge food insecurity that people don't even understand. The amount of loss that is happening in some part of the country right now is ridiculous. You have crops rotting. That is for the people that are lucky to even go out to the farms, right? Because of the insecurity, they can't harvest or they can't tend their crops and things like that. So we're losing a lot of money. I think around about $10 billion has been lost the last time I looked at the figures, right? So that is one side of the insecurity. Then when you talk about open grazing, I find it very, very interesting that we're even discussing open grazing in 2021. Look, it's a business. I don't subscribe to the idea that you can just go graze my maize or my... It's ridiculous, right? You're not paying me for it. Look, if you walk up to me and say, I want to graze all this, and then you pay me for it, okay. But we need to understand that, look, when it comes to cattle rearing, it's a business and it should be treated as such, right? Even, banking is regulated, right? Banking is regulated, fintech is regulated. Even agritech has policies backing it. Sorry, what are we saying about open grazing, right? And it's the quickest, all this insecurity is the quickest way to kill a community, right? You don't need to do much. Just stop the farming activities, right? Because a lot of things will just start going wrong. People will start getting hungry. An hungry man is an angry man. You understand that people will just start getting angry for the smallest of reasons, right? And so for me, I don't even understand why we're discussing this, because to me it doesn't make sense. But maybe I'll be educated down the line.
Maybe. Let's go for this quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at agritech and some of the coins. So we have coins in agritech, the same way we have Bitcoin and the like. So we have all of those in agritech. Stick around. I'll be back after this break. Yeah, now you can rest.
Chairman, where have you been?
Money
in MJ.
Where have you been? I've not seen you for like months. Why are you hiding?
I work in the same place. And I work for you too.
It's amazing, right?
We'll talk after this.
I'm actually enjoying this gist. I'm enjoying this gist. This gist is good gist.
I can be the headsman matter.
Is
The president is well considered.
Not really. You need
He's
to
known for it.
no. You need to understand what is going on. What is going on is not just about him. When people say presidency, it really infuriates me. You know why? There are governors, there are local government chairmen, there are people within the chain that actually make these things happen.
But you don't say this on air.
I can. Am I okay? No. Well,
Let's just
Anyway.
go back. Let's just go
let's
back.
go back. We'll just that one later.
Yeah, welcome back. If you're just tuning in, it's still Dream City here on Unilag Radio 103.1 FM. We still have Mujib Ishola here talking, exploring the opportunities in Agritech. And the numbers, the phone lines are still open. If you have questions, comments, 081 33038749, 08020933638. So the numbers to call to be part of the show this morning. Yes, before the break, I said we're going to talk about coins. You know, we have Bitcoins, we have thousands of coins now. Do we have any coins inhabited? I don't know. Tell us.
Wait, there are a lot of coins dedicated. Well, let me say it correctly. There are a lot of blockchain and cryptocurrency projects that are targeted at agriculture, right? And there are a lot of them, a lot of platforms. I'm not going to be mentioning names.
Of course, you know, they pay me for it.
But they feel that I particularly like so things that have smart chain inbuilt into them, smart contracts built into them, those allow the execution of contracts really quick, right? Thinking about projects that are around land registration and things like that, identity. Those are, there's not one project that, this is the Agritech project, right? There's a lot of things working together to make the ecosystem work. So there are quite a number of them.
Okay. Now, do you think Agritech is a data-driven industry?
Oh, wow. Okay, let me tell you this, right?
Yes.
If
Give us
you-
data.
It is possible for you to have a drone captured image, right, on two separate times, analyze the data, and it will tell you what part of your farm has issues with either pest
Wow.
or that is data crunching. So let's leave the over sophisticated part, right? Climate data, weather data, right, is huge. Market data. So when you say market data, imagine, I mean, if I'm sitting in Ondo and I want to sell my cocoa, right? Before now, you would need big exchanges or to connect to big exchanges to figure out what the pricing is. These days, you don't, right? You don't. Even something as simple as a Telegram group, just put it there. I have 10 tons of cocoa to sell. You'll be amazed at how data will just be flying. All that is part of data. So huge data is a huge data driven business. So for those of you that want to go into Agritech again, think about AI, think about data processing and all these things. Those are areas that would,
I am more interested in the part where you mentioned that a drone can tell me where there's pest, there's in my farm, and that's...
It can. Right. So the way okay, so this is my geek part now. The way it works, right, is if you take it, the drone will take an infrared version of the farm, right, and you can compare those two, right, and because people have had data over time, you can do some analysis to say, oh, okay, when I see a pattern like this is most likely what is happening, right? So that's how all that works. You can get down into the
Interesting. Okay, so now let's look at tech companies, tech startup companies, other tech startup companies, and agri-tech companies. Do you think they can stand at par when it comes to funding? We hear a lot of tech companies raising seed money, funding, and the likes. So do you think agri-tech companies can also do same?
Agritech will do more. Look, nobody wakes up, right, and says, I'm going to look for money for the sake of looking for money, right? You go looking for money because you need to buy food or you need to buy some product, one product or the other, right? The reality, what is happening right now is that I think fintech is the loudest, right? Is the loudest right now because, in my opinion, the problems are clear to see. The problems you're trying to solve is clear to see, right? But in agritech, right, there's a lot more to contend with. And don't get it wrong, there are money coming into agritech as well. It's just that there's different ways of funding things. So in agritech, in fintech, people are used to the typical way of funding, venture capitalists, incubators, and the rest of it. Exactly. But in agriculture, right, or in agritech, right, a lot of it is still driven by donor investments, right, or donor funds, right. But we are beginning to see the Series A type funding in agritech, right. We're beginning to see those kind of things as well. The main issue with agritech funding is the post. You've now gotten money for a startup, right? You now need more money to continue because agriculture is capital is continuous, right? So that is where the funding gap is right now.
But do you see a future where more investors will come into agritech?
Yes. Today there are competitions that there's a competition in Africa that is giving out $15 million, right? In funding, in prize money for people that come up with agri-tech solutions, right? That means if people are willing to give out $15 million, right, it means that there's opportunities for more. You just need to be able to present your case. I'm not going to roll out numbers right now, but all the platforms right now, their numbers are stacking up. Again, it's just a fintech. The problem fintech is trying to solve is very clear, so obvious. But I mean, how do you tell somebody you're going into agritech and the investor throws a question about insecurity at you?
How do you tackle
that? So you just need to be able to present your solutions right clearly, and the money would roll in.
Okay, before now, when farmers approach the bank and say, oh, we need loan, we need funding, and all of these things, sometimes their proposals don't even leave the funders. Banks don't even want to hear about it. But do you think that is changing now with our own Nigerian banks?
You don't even need the banks. Look, there are various ways of raising money right now, right? You're talking about, okay, let me go into blockchain a bit, DeFi, right? You're talking about DeFi right now. You're talking about crowdfunding and crowdsourcing, right? You really don't need a bank. Any bank that cannot see let's not blame the banks. If your proposals don't make sense, it just doesn't make sense. If your proposal makes sense and a bank is not willing to look at it, don't worry about it. Just go put it on a crowdfunding platform. If it makes sense, people will jump in. But I think that is actually changing, because if you look at the statistics of some of these startups, some banks are actually funding it, right? At least I know of 2 banks that are funding some startups, right? But as farmers, let's leave the platforms, and as farmers, if you have a farm, right, and your farm is doing well, you have the statistics, they will give you money. And besides the banks, right, there's a lot of monies available through the Nigerian government that farmers can actually access. The reality of the matter is that some people don't even help themselves, because they get these loans and we're going to get married to like 10 different wives, and you're like, hey, what's going on here, right? So when those are the things that affect that influence those kind of decisions, right? But there's monies available through DeFi, crowdfunding, the banks, and even the Nigerian government. So monies are available if you're willing to put in the work.
Interesting. Monies are available if you're willing to put in the work. Time check, it's about few minutes and someone will kick me out of the studio. But finally, what are your final thoughts on all of this, especially to our Gen Zs and millennials? What would you say to them?
Look, farming is something you need to pay attention to. Part of all the issues you're seeing in this world right now, right, stems from hunger from one part of the other. So you need to tackle that problem, right? Don't look at farmers as, wearing this ragged, old, dirty stuff. Farming is actually a good way to make your money, your earnings, and it's also a good way to actually live life. You're happier, you're working with your hands, you're working with people. So get into it, right? Don't worry about fintech or payments. Payments is meant to be heard and not seen. And that's why a lot of the fintech companies, when you talk about Agritech, Yeah, they're not even seen, but they're there. So let's look at how to improve that sector, create more jobs for ourselves. Don't wait for people to come create jobs for us. Final
Thank you
words.
so much, Mujib, for coming on the show today. I had a good time. It was an interesting conversation talking Agritech. Thank you so much for coming onto the show today. To our listeners at home, thank you for tuning in. And to those who won my airtime today during our quiz segment, shout out to Peter from Mile 12 and Tunde from Ikeja. You'll get your airtime immediately. Thank you to all of you. And I would say farming is not for the low, or what's that word to describe? It's not for poor people. Let me just leave it like that. It's not for poor people. Farming is actually for everybody. You can make a living out of farming, and like Mujib said, many people should go into farming. Let's have more farmers. Maybe I'll think about going to grow a little more so I can assist Momsi at the farm. So do have a beautiful weekend, and I'll join you same time, same station next Saturday. Do have a beautiful weekend. From Comfort in the studio, I'm saying bye. Okay, thank you so much. No, don't run yet.
You never mention your surname.
Come.
Stop it.
Comfort.
Yes.
You never mention your surname.
Well, I do. I did at the beginning now. Why you hugging me? Do you want to hear it? My surname is Uwakhonye. And one thing interesting about my surname is that you actually need to smile to get it right. You can't smile.
Get it right.
Yes, you won't pronounce it right. Uwakhonye.
Oh,
Pronounce.
Uwakhonye.
You smiled.
That's right. Uwakhonye.
That form is for you. Please help me feel it.
What's happened?
Any phone type